Hi, I'm Angela, and for my project, I am doing diabetes and nutrition education for the Food RX program through the agency I did my research on, which was Second Harvest Heartland. So, what is diabetes? Diabetes is a condition where we have too much sugar in our blood. This is also known as hyperglycemia. Um, we get the sugar from the intake of the food and drink that we consume. When we have a higher blood sugar, our body normally produces a chemical called insulin, and insulin allows sugar to come into our cells so that we can use it for fuel and energy. But with diabetes, our body doesn't produce any or enough insulin to help lower our blood sugar. And that's when we can see some serious complications and the symptoms associated with diabetes. There are two different types. So there's type 1 and type 2. Type 1 is where our body stops producing insulin on its own. So typically we need daily insulin to keep our blood sugar levels in check with type 1. And this usually develops in children and young adults. So type 2 diabetes is a little different. Our body either doesn't make enough or doesn't know how to use insulin properly. This is different than just stopping to make insulin altogether. And this one is much more common than type 1 diabetes, and it usually develops in older adults, although we can see type 2 diabetes in children as well. So some symptoms of hyperglycemia, that can be an increased thirst, increased hunger, going to the bathroom more often, weight loss, blurred vision, numbness and tingling to the hands and feet, fatigued, and slow wound healing. How is it treated? Typically, people take insulin, but also you can take anti-diabetic medication as well. People usually help prevent by drinking more water, exercising more, and changing their eating habits, which I will go over a little bit later in these slides. So what is hypoglycemia? It's kind of the opposite of hyperglycemia. So when we have too low of blood sugar in our system. It is most likely caused by too much insulin or diabetic medication, but we can also see it with, not eating enough, skipping meals, and stuff like that. We can also see it with increasing exercise and physical activity, and also drinking alcohol. So some signs of hypoglycemia, patients are usually typically pretty pale. They get shaky and sweaty, can get a headache, have some increased hunger, nausea, fatigue, irritability, and anxiety. How is it typically treated? So if you're ever feeling, a little low blood sugar, which you get pale, feel shaky, dizzy, all that, you start by eating or drinking 15 to 20 grams of a fast-acting carbohydrate, and this can include glucose tablets, fruit juice, regular soda, honey, or any sugary candy. Ideally, you would want to recheck that blood sugar after 15 minutes. And if you're still feeling, shaky, sweaty, all that, that would be a good sign to go ahead and take another 15 to 20 grams of fast-acting carbohydrates. And it's important to have a snack or meal at hand you're ever feeling hypoglycemic. Some nutrition education. It's important to meal plan. So a meal plan is a guide for when, what, and how much you want to eat to get the proper nutrition that you need. So a good meal plan for diabetes would be non-starchy vegetables, fewer sugars and refined grains, and then focusing on eating those whole foods, which I'll list a couple of foods in the next slide here for an example. So with diabetes, or with anyone actually, carbohydrates in our food can raise our blood sugar levels. So how fast carbohydrates raise our blood sugar depends on what kind of food that we eat. So for example, if we are drinking a fruit juice, that'll most likely raise our blood sugar levels faster than eating like a whole piece of fruit. So say you had orange juice, that would be much more faster in increasing blood sugar levels than if you just ate a whole orange. Eating carbohydrates with foods that have protein, fat, and fiber can slow how quickly our blood sugar levels raise. So this is important to know for someone with diabetes because we don't want our blood sugar levels to raise too quickly. It is also important to plan out regular balanced meals just to avoid too high blood sugar, too low blood sugar, and just to keep things regulated. So what to eat? It is important to eat fruits, non-starchy vegetables, such as broccoli, spinach, and green beans, healthy fats, which can be avocados, nuts, eggs, and lean proteins, so chicken, turkey, beans, tofu, and eggs again. It's important to avoid salt, refined sugars, and refined carbs, as these can quickly raise the blood glucose level. So Food RX is a program at Second Harvest Heartland, and it ensures that people experiencing food insecurity and living with chronic health conditions can get those resources that they need. So they provide food education and other support resources. It's simple and cost effective, and it's a great way to connect patients with nutritious foods and education to improve their health. And that's it.